Hello everybody. Today we'll be studying how to create queries, how to create forms and reports. So firstly, we'll be studying how to create queries. What is a query? Query helps to pull information from multiple data tables and allow the users to limit the records, that is rows, display by using certain criteria and showing only the fields that meet the specified criteria. Basically, query helps to pull whatever the information which we require. So in the last video I had given you, we had done a particular question of it and we did a certain table where we provided two tables, that was employee table and basic table. So if I wanted information of a person from finance department, so that for that I need to prepare a query. The query is pulling a specific information and you need to give the criteria. Criteria is my finance department. So now how to create the query? First, we'll be going to the query design and then create. Then we'll be selecting the table from which data is to be retrieved. Now, under the design grid, fill the field and table. Field and table basically represents the name of fields and tables selected for the query. Sorting basically means helps in retrieving the data in ascending or descending order. And show refers to which field you want to show. And the criteria is refers to the usage of commands. Then after doing this, we run the query and the query is being formed. So under the usage of criteria, we need some of the commands to be used. These commands are need to be memorized by you, and how to follow these commands are, in order to create the query, following commands are used. For the first letter, like I want my name of employee to my name of employee whose name starts from L. So I'll write like inverted commas are double inverted commas open, then the letter which I want. Supposingly I want the first name to be started from L. So I'll write L star. Star means the other letters of that particular name. Inverted commas close. Slash double inverted commas open. L star double inverted commas close. So first letter here refers to if I want any particular employee whose name starts from L, like inverted commas L in star inverted commas close. So this would be my command for having all those employees whose name starts from L. Last letter, similarly for the last letter, the difference is we'll be putting star before the letter. So that is like inverted commas open, star L inverted commas close. I want my employee's name. I want all those employees whose name ends with L or any particular letter which is given in the question. First and the last letter, if I want to specify, I want anybody or my student's name, all those students whose name starts from L and ends with L. So I'll put like inverted commas open. I'll specify L star L inverted commas close. Number of alphabets. Now I want to specify my criteria with, I want all those employees who has 4 letters in their words or 5 letters in the words. So to specify the alphabet, specify the characters, I'll use question mark, and therefore the numbers Number of question mark depends the number of alphabets which you specify. So if I want 4, so what will be my command will be like inverted commas open question mark 4 times inverted commas close slash, or you can write other than like over here. Next is first and the last letter and the number of characters to be fixed. Now you want the characters to be fixed. Like I want my first name to be M, last letter, the letter of the name to be M, last letter of the name to be N, and I want 4 letters in between. So therefore I want 6 letter name. So I can do M for the initial name, or any type of letter you think of, question mark 4 times N, then inverted commas close. For more than or less than, what would be the criteria? That is inverted commas open, greater than, equivalent to 1000, or greater than equivalent to 1000. 1000 is any hypothetical number. Supposingly I want in the previous question which we'll be continuing today, here the basic salary we want any employees whose basic salary is more than 1000. So I want all those employees names, so greater than equivalent to 1000. If you want to exclude a command, then put not inverted commas open star L inverted commas close. So anything which you do not want to exclude, you just need to put not in front of it, and then you can put the command. So not inverted commas open star L means I do not want any name who ends with L. For any date to be specified, like supposedly I want date of birth, means basically I have in my company there's an age criteria. That means I do not want any person to be above 30 or 35 years. So I can give an age criteria. So for the age criteria or for any specific date criteria, what you need to be hashtag 00, that is the date, slash your month, slash your year, hashtag close. So this is how you need to specify for the date. Now, sometimes in our criteria, there are 2 or more things. So if we have you're using more than one criteria, that is using and or command, then like my name should start from M or S. I want all my employees names whose name starts from M or S. Then inverted commas M star inverted commas close. Or now I'm putting or over here, inverted commas open S star inverted commas close. Or another example is, I want salary more than 20,000 but less than 50,000. Then my criteria is more than 20,000 and less than 50,000. So I want something between 20,000 to 50,000. So here my and command is being used. So these are the certain criteria or commands which are to be followed up in order to create query, and these commands you need to memorize in order to create them. Now we'll be doing a question for the queries. Questions for query. The first, list the name of employees who work for the finance department. Now going to the Access file, let me tell you, we'll be continuing the question which we did in the last class, where we created tables. Here we had created 2 tables, that is employees table and employee table. We had given employee code, employee name, department, experience. in this video, I've added two more field names. One is city, city basically where you live, and I have mentioned a text, and the joining date of the employees, and I have made data type as date or time. Now, under joining date, that is date or time, under validation rule, I want no date to be specified, or no date should be more than the current date. Whatever the current date of this year of today is, I do not want above that particular date. So I have written less than date, bracket open, bracket close. And under validation text, I have written date should be less than the current date. I'll repeat, for the joining date, I've specified the data type to be as data/time, and I have given a validation rule that whatever the joining date should not be above the current date. It should always be less than the current date, whatever the current date is. And current date is usually picked up by the computer. So you do not need to specify that what the current date is. So after doing it, I went to the data sheet view, and I had completed this particular sheet where I had given employee code, employee names, departments were mentioned, experience, city and joining date are being given. City as Delhi, Noida, Gurgaon, Ghaziabad, Delhi, Noida. Joining date, any. Now let me tell you, today, let's say today is 27th of April. So if I put any date, supposingly June 2020 and 3rd June, let's say, and then enter, there'll be a dialog box which says your date should be less than the current date, which that means this particular sentence you have mentioned in your validation rule, and this is being displayed under your data sheet view. So we'll say okay, and we'll change our date. And we'll save it. This is under the employee table. Next is the pay details table. Pay details table we haven't changed. We have only two columns over here, employee code and basic pay. And employee code over here is your foreign key, whereas in employee table, employee code was refers to as a primary key. I have already discussed and told you about the keys, that is primary key and the secondary key. So you can see on the left hand side of the employee code, there is a key being defined out. So before going to the query, you need to prepare a relationship. And in the last class, we had already prepared the relationship between the two tables. And why relationship is important. Unless you not create a relationship, the data cannot be mixed up, data cannot be connected to each other. So in order to have a relationship between the tables, you need to create a relationship under database management. Then only you can proceed to queries, forms, and your reports. So now, how to create your queries. Now going to the create, click on the create button on the toolbar, and you can see there are certain things, tables, forms, reports, and query. Now under query, we'll click on query design. So under query design, once you click on the query design, it says which table relationship you want. So in this particular question, we had only two tables, and we had created the relationship between two tables only. Whereas the question can be of 5 tables, 6 tables, 7 tables. So you need to specify that what you require. So I want to have both the tables in this particular question. So I'll either double click or add this particular thing, then close it. Now you can see there's a relationship being formed, that is 1 is to infinity. That means 1 to many. That means all these characteristics are related to the employee code and the basic pay. So this is how the relationship is being built up. Now going again to the question. The first is list the name of employees who work for the finance department. What you need to list? You need to list the name of employees. Now going back again to our Access file, you need what employee name. So under fields, you need to select employee name, right? Next field, you need to find it out your employee department, where you stress and specify that you need finance department. So I open the double inverted commas, then written finance, double inverted commas close. Then I'll save this particular query. It automatically gives you query 1. You can even rename it. Once I save it, then there is a button on the toolbar called as run. You need to run this particular query. Now, you can see the result that I require people name or the name of employees whose department was finance. So in my particular table, I had given 2 employees, Arya and Deepak, with the finance department, and hence my query is being formed of. Now the second question, the second query, that is, you need to list the name, department of employees whose names start with A and D. So here you need to give the name of the employees, department of employees whose name starts with A and D. So now again going to the Access file, click on the create button, query design, click on the query design, which tables you want. I again want both the tables. What field I need to specify, what I need employee name and the department name. So I want employee name, I'll select the employee name and then select the department name, and will specify a criteria. That means I need to give you the command, and what command was being asked was I need to specify the employees whose name starts with A or D. So double inverted commas open, A star inverted commas close, space, or double inverted commas open, D star double inverted commas closed. Save this query with query 2 name, and then I'll run. Now you can see my employees' name were Arya and Deepak. So this was, I think, query 1 and query 2 are almost same by chancely. So you need, Archa, one more thing. You need to create the data, or you need to prepare your data. That means your data sheet, wherever you are typing the data, has to be very logical with related to your questions or with your queries. Now, supposingly I do not have any name with A or D, then my result will be nil, right? So in order to show a result, you need to prepare the data where I want the people name as are A, from whose name starts with A or D. Now, supposingly I do not, in the first query, I do not have only finance department. So there wouldn't be any query being formed of, right? The field's name would be blank. So therefore, when you are creating your data, you need to be very mindful and very seeking what things are to be asked of. Now this is how things are done. Now, third query, list the name, department, city, and salary of all the employees whose name starts with A or B and who lives in Delhi or in Noida. Now there are two criteria, one in the name and one in the city. And what field names you require? Name, department, city, and salary. Now let's go back to our Access file. We'll click on the create button, query design. I want both the tables. I want name, employee name. I want city. I want basic pay. What else I wanted? I want department. I want department. So I have 4 fields which will be depicted in my query. Now, seeking the criteria, there were 2 criteria which we been given to us and which we need to find it out. The criteria was my first name should either start with A, that is inverted commas open, A, or inverted commas open, B, star inverted commas close. And under city, again, it should be either Delhi. I'll specify now, Delhi has to come, or Noida. Now again, saving this query, automatically it's query 3, and then I will run. Now you can see there are 4 fields given: employee name, city, basic pay, department, and Arya is the person whose name starts with A and he lives in Delhi, whereas B, Ben, is the employee who lives in Noida. So I wanted all the employees whose name starts with A and B and who lives in Delhi and Noida. So I have specified people with name A and B and who are living from Delhi and Noida. So this is how we can form the query third. Now going to the last query, that is query 4. List all the employees who have joined after 4th April 2019. So now I want all the employees who have joined after 4th April 2019. So for date, we need to put hashtag. So again, I'll go to my Access file. I'll create a query design. I want both the tables. I want names, employee name, date of joining. So under date of joining, my criteria would be that now it is saying any people who have joined after. That means in after you need to put more than hashtag 4/04/2019 hashtag close. This is how. So I want all the employees who are working, who have joined the company after this particular date. The date can be anything. So I'll save the query and then run. Now you can see Chetan, Deepak, Emma, Farah all have joined after that particular specific date. So there are only two people who have joined before that. I think Arya and Ben. Yeah. So this is how our queries are being formed of. So we can close our queries. Now, this is how queries are being formed. So in order to create the query, two things you need to learn. First are the commands, and the second is to build up the relationship. So until the relationship is not right, you cannot create the query. Now, third object of database we'll be doing is creation of forms. Now, what are forms? You must have filled number of forms. That could be your college forms, competitive exam forms, many forms you must have filled up. Now, how they are created? Now, we'll be doing that in the database management system. So, under again, create button in your Access file, you can see a column of forms, right? So, over here, click on Form Wizard. Once you click on Form Wizard, there'll be a dialog box which says what things you require in your form. Supposingly, I want employee code. I'll send this employee code over here. I want employee name. I want department. I want experience. And I want city, right? Similarly, under I want from another table also, I want basic pay also. So I'll put on basic pay as well in my particular form. So these things would be seen under my form. Now click on next. So how do you want to review your data? Your data should have a particular subform, that is basic form, because these two tables were different. So you can click on yes, and you can say yes and click on next. So there are two forms, tabular form and the data sheet form view. So you can view in any form. Supposingly, I click on tabular. I'll click on next. It's nothing. You click on next. Maybe you want to modify the form's design, or do you want to open the form to view or enter the information, and you can click finish. Now this is how forms are being there. So you can check under employee code, whatever the things were, this is how your form looks like. So just below the form, there are 1 of 7 records. You can click and you can see your form has been created. You can have an empty one also. The forms and reports are the last thing, and it's the easiest thing. You just need to do, you only need the field names which you already had created in the tables, and whatever the fields you require in your form, you can make those. Now going to the creation of reports. What are reports? Reports are the end results. The end results of probably I want all the students or BCom honors students, whatever the database is, and I want the result as students of BCom honors. So that's a particular report being formed where all the data of BCom honors students are required. So similarly in this particular question, which we are doing of employees of an organization, here I want a report of all the employees. Okay, so under report, create under report, I'll click on report wizard. Again, that's a similar way of forms. what I feel I would like, that would be, I'll be using. Probably I want pay details also. I will click on next, next, next. Basically in any form you want, portrait form, landscape form, anything, and finish it up. So this is how your report would look like. Now, supposingly you can just see on the screen that the joining dates are not being defined. So that means that particular field is very small, size of the field is very small. So what I'll do is, I'll go on design view. I'll just lower the size of city, increase the size of join date. Maybe I'll resize this also, the employee name. And can view it in the datasheet view, report view. Now you can see the joining data being given over. The same manner where it was to be shown. So this is how reports are being formed of. So we have completed the excess. We had learned how to create tables. We had learned how to create queries, forms, and reports. So I just hope that you must have learned how to do excess, and in excess we usually have all these four, or you can skip query or can skip form or reports, but tables are necessary for any other step you want to go to. Like if you want to go to query, you need to develop tables. If you want to go to reports or forms, you need to develop your tables, and after tables you want relationships so that any particular table can be linked with each other. So thank you for listening.